if you followed the NFL at all this offseason, there's been one kind of overarching story that's been sort of casting doubt on just where the balance and the scales will ultimately fall. And that is, of course, where Aaron Rodgers will sign, because for a while it was maybe going to be the Vikings and then, the Steelers and the Giants. And now it seems like it's just kind of solely focused on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they are having these same OTA workouts that the Bears are having right now. It's called the off season.
They're in the same boat.
I think these are actually, OTA and boy, oh boy, I'm not going to look this up right now, even though I should, but I'm just going off of memory. So correct me if I'm wrong. OTA stands for off season training activity.
So it's activity.
It's worded in such a way where it's not mandatory, everybody. And that's the important thing here, because Joy Taylor on her show Speak on FS1, she kind of laid into Aaron Rodgers because she was like, hey, man, where are you at? Why are you not at Pittsburgh Steelers practice? And I want to remind you that he doesn't even have a contract with the team yet. So keep that in mind as you watch this. A little bit of a hilarity ensues.
All right.
Why? This is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have six Lombardies. They're coached by
a
first ballot Hall of Fame Mike Tomlin.
They don't have a
never
quarterback.
had a losing
They don't have a
season.
quarterback.
And we're sitting around talking about Aaron Rodgers is not there on the first day of OTAs. Mandatory or not, where's your pride? Where's your dignity?
That's why I say I'm going to give him another day.
Where's your respect for the game? Where's your respect for this organization? Where's this organization's respect for the history that they have in this league? What are we talking about? He's never played there before. He doesn't know any of these teammates. He doesn't know the streets to get to the facility. He doesn't know the doctors. He doesn't know the rehab crew. He doesn't know anybody. He doesn't know anybody. He doesn't know where to get his smoothies. Nothing. Why would you not be there? Why am I supposed to take this seriously? It's not about him not being at non-mandatory OTAs for a team that he's been with for 22 years. Do what you want to do. You won 5 games last year. The year before that, you didn't play because you tore your Achilles. The year before that, you missed the playoffs. What are we talking about?
What are you talking about?
Now you got me crashing out, Paul.
No.
Why, Nika? Did you hear that?
Why me a little bit more?
Why?
Why?
Finally a journalist asks the right question, why, and they choose the
wrong?
worst time to do it in a useless situation. Again, yes, you heard that correctly. Why isn't he not practicing? I don't know, because he doesn't have a contract yet. Maybe you should be asking, why hasn't he signed yet with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
But why nobody told her that?
If he had signed and then said, like, screw you guys, I'm not coming to your little non-mandatory workouts, then maybe you can have a little bit of a complaint, because, like she said, he won 5 games last year. He missed the year before completely with that knee injury. Yeah, he has logged a lot of miles and has the experience, but you definitely need time to install an offense, as we just learned from Ben Johnson. And Aaron Rodgers changing teams would be no different.
Of course.
So,
but he's also a veteran, number one. And also, number two, the bigger point in this, he is not under a contract.
He's not under contract.
So what, you just want him to show up and like show him his goodies?
I think this is all by design by Aaron Rodgers, because as we discussed, I don't think he has any options left other than the Steelers if he wants to play football.
Or retire.
Well, I said if he wants to play football.
Yeah.
So the Vikings window, I think, is closed shut, and I think that was the number one ticket that he wanted. I think he wanted to play the NFC North and play the Bears twice and the Lions twice, and certainly his former team, the Packers, twice. But still, Pittsburgh is the next best thing, because they play our division this year, and then he would get to play them all. He would get to play the Vikings, the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions. So,
as of today, he hasn't signed.
As of today, he hasn't signed. And you know what? There is one former Pittsburgh Steeler that is sure as hell hoping he does not sign. Nika, can you cue up the next slide for me, please? And I want to point out, this is by Julia Anderson, CNN. Yes, we went to CNN for some sports news, because I was scratching my head when I was looking for an article because I could not find audio of Terry Bradshaw like on Twitter or anywhere talking about this, even though I'm pretty sure it exists. Because this was on the radio.
Okay.
It was, so somebody said this on a radio broadcast. I'm just really surprised nobody put it on social media, but I digress. Julia Anderson did clip it for CNN. Do we need CNN covering sports?
No.
I'm just saying. We have ESPN and Fox Sports and all these dedicated sports brands. Hey, CNN,
They had to
you're
diversify.
downsizing. Like, let's put some more resources into actual news that we need from you,
That are actual news.
and hard news like this is.
I'm sorry, maybe people come to CNN for sports because everything else is fake.
Maybe, I guess. But if you haven't read the headline yet, folks, I'm going to read it for you now. Pittsburgh Steelers legend Terry Bradshaw doesn't want Aaron Rodgers anywhere near the team. The caption reads, "It's a joke," Terry Bradshaw said of Aaron Rodgers reportedly signing for the Steelers. Nika, let's get into this.
All right.
This is juicy. Despite months of speculation surrounding Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's clear franchise legend Terry Bradshaw wants his former team to stay as far away from the 41-year-old as possible. Okay, tell me why. After a difficult 2 seasons in New York with the Jets, the 4-time NFL MVP has been courting offers and fueling speculation since that contract ended. On the Pat McAfee show in April, Rodgers revealed he's been taking his time making a final decision as he's been handling personal matters. Hey, Joy, did you know Aaron Rodgers has some personal matters to attend to, and that's all you're going to get out of him? Sorry. Okay. Here's what Bradshaw had to say on the next slide, Nika. "That's a joke. That to me is just a joke. What are you going to bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? That guy needs to stay in California and go somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there."
Wait, what?
I must have missed out when I was in California. I did not chew on bark and converse
I
with the
see.
gods.
Okay. Keep going. I
all right.
don't know why.
Bradshaw said this on 103.7 The Buzz's Morning Mayhem on Tuesday, appearing to reference Rodgers' usage of ayahuasca and other alternative beliefs.
Maybe they all need to use this in order to open their minds.
Well, I mean, I don't like to judge what people use in their personal lives, like, I mean, look at how many shots Aaron Rodgers has taken over the years. Maybe he needs some peace for his brain. Who knows? I know a lot of people out there think he's goofy and kooky, but he's healthy.
He's healthy.
He's healthy. He can still quarterback in his 40s, and not many men can say that. So
Exactly.
if you want to criticize him for what he said or whatever, that's fine. But I think maybe don't be so judgmental about somebody that's still doing a job that most people never do in their 40s. All right. When the radio host stated that he wasn't a fan of the former Green Bay Packers and New York Jets QB, Bradshaw said, quote, "Nor am I," and recalled meeting Rodgers for the first time. Quote, "You get in his presence and you feel like it's about to start snowing," the 4-time Super Bowl winner joked. Nika,
What?
can you continue?
I don't understand this analogy. Like, does it get cold?
I
Or-
guess he feels like he's a cold person, and that was his
Oh.
way of saying that
Well,
he
that's
felt
okay.
that, maybe he's just shy or
He's
he's
maybe an
laid
introvert.
back or
I'm like
introverted.
that.
I know. I've slowly got you to come out of your shell on this wonderful show that you're doing with me, but I know. And so there's people like that. They're not bad people. You're not a bad person. You're not. I don't feel snow in your presence, Nika.
Thanks.
So if you're going for that, you're not doing it right. No, this is just like, it's a 70s thinking, right? About,
I think so.
And it's Mental Health Awareness Month or something. So it's doubly a shame.
Yeah.
To talk about maybe someone that is truly introverted, because I could kind of see that with
Yeah.
him. He doesn't rant and rave on these talk shows.
He doesn't. He doesn't seek spotlight.
He's always been soft spoken. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, if you look on the next slide, we might get a little bit of insight into why this is a big deal to Terry Bradshaw. Finally, does he have a hidden agenda here, Nika?
Maybe.
Bradshaw also used his appearance on the show to be critical of his former team's treatment of 2022 first-round draft pick Kenny Pickett, saying They didn't do enough to provide the talent and protection to let a QB thrive. So it sounds like Terry Bradshaw had it, a thing for the other guy that didn't make it. And, again, I don't know how big of an influence or of I guess even role, that's not the right word, how much of even keeping up appearances with the team Terry Bradshaw does these days. Of course, he does Fox, and I think he's always going to be biased towards the Steelers just because of the persona and the fan, base that he has.
Sure.
But I do think that he feels like this guy, Kenny Pickett, got the raw end of the stick, it sounds like. So I wonder if that is motivating some of his answers or his quote-unquote dislike of Aaron Rodgers here. Now, 2022 is a long time ago, and we know last year that Kenny Pickett wasn't in the Pittsburgh Steelers conversation. It was Justin Fields, and it was Russell Wilson. So
where is Kenny Pickett at this moment?
I actually don't know.
He might have retired.
Well, he might not have made it. He might be a backup somewhere.
Might be.
But the point is he's not the starting Steelers quarterback, and he's not gonna be.
So
all right. Quote, the Steelers drafted Kenny Pickett. I liked Kenny Pickett. I liked him at Pitt. I know him. I know what he's like. And when they got him to Pittsburgh, here's what they didn't do. They didn't protect him. Oh, that sounds familiar. Caleb Williams. You throw a kid in there for 2 years, and you've got an offense that doesn't fit and doesn't work, and they can't run because their offensive line's not even good enough for a run-blocking team. And therefore, they say Pickett was a failure. He wasn't a failure. The Steelers were a failure. I don't know. I feel like if Kenny Pickett was as good as Terry Bradshaw says, and then he would have gotten an opportunity somewhere else by now to be a starting quarterback and prove the Steelers wrong. I don't know.
Maybe Bradshaw is just so far removed from the new modern quarterbacking that he doesn't understand or know what is the modern quarterbacking right now.
Well, Kenny Pickett last year spent a year with Philadelphia as a backup. So he probably got some really good experience winning a Super Bowl.
He got a
and
ring.
Now he's in the Cleveland locker room with Shedeur Sanders and others that were drafted ahead of him. And not to mention, what's his name, who's out for the year? Deshaun Watson? Yeah. It's crowded over there in Cleveland, everybody.
I was just going to say, they have a lot of quarterbacks going on in there. They're like Dodgers of football with the pitching.
Indeed. Yeah. Kenny Pickett, by the way, 30 games in his career, just 15 touchdowns. So, not great. 15 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. So about 1-to-1, not where you want to be. Okay. You throw a kid in there for 2 years and you've got an offensive. I read this already.
Yes, you did.
All right, great. So we're going to move on to the next slide. And we see a picture here of Kenny Pickett in the Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, number 8. Mason Rudolph, who was drafted by the Steelers in 2018, spent 6 seasons in Pittsburgh before signing with the Tennessee Titans for the 2024 season. However, he recently signed a 2-year contract to return to the black and gold. So I'm not sure if that's him pictured there, but I think that's Kenny Pickett. Rudolph is currently practicing as the starting QB. Next slide, if you didn't flip it. Being the signal caller during OTA sessions, off-season training activities. But it is assumed that he'll be the backup once the season rolls around. During the first OTA session of the spring, Rudolph was asked about how he's dealing with the Rodgers speculation since re-signing with the Steelers. That's hilarious. Mm-hmm. Quote, "That's nothing new to me. There's been constant noise. That is the nature of the NFL. So I have been used to that for a long time now. I do nothing but be the best I can be and help our team get better this spring." All right, Nika. So what do you think here? Is Terry Bradshaw going to deter Aaron Rodgers from just playing football altogether this year? I think we established that this is his only choice, right? And from everything I'm seeing online and reading reactions from other people to this news, it sounds like there's a certain contingency of Pittsburgh fandom that is not wholly on board with Aaron Rodgers coming here. And I feel like when one of their own biggest superstars from the past is sort of shouting the same message from the mountaintops almost here, I'm wondering if that makes this a bigger deal and if it influences the Steelers' decision at all, or do they care?
I don't think the fandom influences the decision the way we imagine we might be, because at the end of the day, it is a business decision.
Yeah.
Who's going to give him the best choice out there and the best performance?
True. Yeah.
So,
you have to do that. And, I just feel like at the end of the day, if Aaron Rodgers is under center for the Pittsburgh Steelers in September, they're still going to sell out their stadium.
of course.
So it's not like a contingency of fans are going to prevent that from happening. They're not going to prevent the fans from coming out. And even if they boycott, someone else will take their place,
Boycotts never work. I'm sorry. There's just too many people on board with this, then probably off.
And then the quarterback that they bring back, who's clearly not going to be the guy. It's like, what do you think about Rodgers coming? Like, come on, media. Like, this bottom didn't even need, Rudolph didn't even need to be in this article. It's so funny. Like, this is what happens, CNN, when you decide we should interject ourselves into the sports landscape. Come on.
They're trying to diversify. They're losing audience.
Stick to what you know. I mean, which is nothing. I mean, go back to 1990, please, and just do hard news again. I would be grateful.
Yeah.
So would America.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no more panels, CNN.
Yes, that's what's ruining all the news media. Just give us the news.